Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Triple T. It's Isaac here, and I'm sitting here with the lovely Olivia Anderson. How you doing, Olivia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for being here. Happy International Women's Day, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
The reason I wanted to have you here, especially on a day like today, International Women's Day, is because not only are you a woman, but you're your own boss. You work for yourself, and you're the head honcho in charge. And I just thought, as a fountain of
Mhm.
knowledge, you could spread more light to young individuals like yourself who want to be where you are. For those of you who don't know, Olivia is
Mhm.
the owner of Royalty Beauty Bar and Royalty Mink Studios, correct?
Yes.
And let's just jump right into it. Like, did you always know you were going to end up working for yourself?
I did not. I started off um at Mary Brown's, and I feel like after all of the stuff that I was doing, retail, being behind the kitchen, cooking, prepping, and then also dishwashing, you kind of get to see different things throughout the different stages. And I was just like, I don't want to stay stagnant, so I had to leave my 9 to 5 in order to be able to wholeheartedly jump into my business.
Oh yeah, I totally understand that feeling. Having to juggle and not want to be where you working a job that you don't wanna have. Believe it or not, guys, we both used to work at
Mhm.
the same mall back in the day in high school. But then I've seen you evolve from leaving the retail world and then going into your own business. Was it difficult
Mhm.
to, pick like a standard 9 to 5 or a standard like job and just believe in yourself?
It took me a while to actually reap the benefits that I was sowing into my business. Usually, a lot of people say it takes about 5 to 6 years for you to actually start to see some type of progress. During that time frame is when you build, you learn. The first 2 years, I would say, was the hardest for me because I had no clients, so I was just running off of faith. If I did have clients, it was a 1-2, but it wasn't enough to sustain bills or me financially. So there's a lot of ups and downs, me going back to work for somebody else and then realizing, okay, that really isn't for me, and then putting full force into my business.
So you talk about having like 1, 2 clients, and then you have to go back into the workforce. How are you able to build your clientele from a 1, 2 to being booked and busy now?
Um, I'd say the biggest difference I would say is my consistency in posting on social media. I was doing it a lot back then, but I would say not as consistent as I am now because now I'm understanding looking at your professional dashboard, your analytics, understanding the algorithm, knowing what to post in order to bring certain goals. My posts back then were just me just posting and going off of faith, whereas now I'm realizing I have to be more intentional with the content that I'm posting so that I can actually bring in certain goals that I'm trying to accomplish.
Oh, wow. So I didn't know. I thought like just following the trends and like, TikTok would just push you or IG would just push you, but I guess that you're saying that's not the case.
Hmm.
So if that's
So I feel like Or sorry.
no, no,
But
go
I
ahead.
feel like for, when I was posting, I would say about 2 years ago, I was just following trends, like, whatever I saw is what I would go with, whereas now I still am following trends, but I also know what's to go with and what not to go with depending on the outcome. So I was posting willy-nilly last year, and I posted 3 videos, just for the heck of it. They didn't have a goal in mind, and those 3 videos went viral, bringing in a clientele that I didn't expect, and I wasn't able to withstand it during that time frame, but now I'm trying to build a system to work with it. And it was also for one of my low ticket services. So if you're promoting, most people would want one of their high ticket services to go viral so that you can bring in more income. But because I didn't have a strategy of how I was posting, basically whatever I put out there during that time frame was what's viral and what's still keeping me going right now. So that happened last year in the summer. And it took me about 3 or 4 months to actually be able to withstand the volume of people that came from those 3 viral posts, which I wasn't prepared for.
So how does one become prepared for, let's say, for when the block is hot?
I would say that you have to try and put yourself in the position of what if this were to go viral? Am I prepared for what can come with it? Like, let's say one of your videos does go viral, like for me, mine went for eyebrow waxing, which is only $20 service. But if you're getting a high volume of that, people are obviously going to have questions. People don't pay attention to what's in your bio or what's in the caption. People don't pay attention to even the on-screen text, where I'm located, um, how to book, simple things. So when I woke up the next morning, I had 50 to 100 DMs from people asking me all the stuff that was already answered on my page. And it took me maybe 3 weeks to get through the backlog of people. So I would say have a system in place that already answers the main messages. Maybe if you can set up Meta AI to answer stuff now, like how you comment on people's videos, and then that will have your page send them an automatic DM responding to stuff, or automating people to go to your page so they can see the simple questions already answered, or have a frequently asked questions page or something along those lines. I would say also being able to separate business from personal, because right now I'm working on having a separate device for business and a separate device for personal things, because it's overwhelming having everything on one phone. And that's what took me so long to get through everything.
That's actually really true because I noticed like a lot of people start promoting their business on their personal social media as well, instead of making like a
Mm-hmm.
page for the business. And then I understand because like the
Mm-hmm.
social media has the followers, and then the new business has like
Mm-hmm.
you're starting from scratch. What would you like advise
Exactly.
for people who are starting from scratch?
I would say make sure that you're niching depending on what you're doing. So if you're making a new account from scratch on TikTok, I would say if you're going to do a specific service, make sure that that's all you're posting consistently on that page, so that TikTok knows who to push your things to. Um, yeah, I would say that's about it.
That makes sense. And you just mentioned you do eyebrow waxing, but that's not all you do. I've seen that on your page. You teach as well. You also do waxing. You also do lashes. Like, how do you are you able to diversify your talents and make it niche?
Um, well, right now, if you go on my TikTok, you would see that most of my current stuff is flowing off of my basically the viral posts. So I was posting a bunch of eyebrows, and that's what went viral. And then if I branch off and start posting lashes again, it starts to confuse the algorithm, and then I'll start to see my view count go down. So then I realized, okay, I guess TikTok has niched me into eyebrows now, because three of my viral posts are eyebrows. So I'm making sure that when anyone comes to my page, what they see is eyebrows. If they see more, it's by coming and booking an appointment with me, or going on my page and realizing, oh, she does more. So that when they come in, they'll ask me questions about my other services, but I'm trying to be known specifically for one thing first. And if they come, then they find out about the other stuff.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. And would you say that I understand that your business isn't you're in the GTA, but you're in the Brampton area, and like a lot
Hmm.
of businesses are known for like being in Toronto or being downtown. Like, how are you able to find your market and just say like, for example, if you're starting a business in your living room and then branching off to finding an actual storefront, like which location,
Hmm.
things like that?
I would say for me, because I got to experience working from home, I also was in Mississauga prior to, and then now downtown Brampton. But looking at all the locations I've been at, home was always easy for me to get clients, because again, you're localized in Brampton, in such a centralized area. It's like near downtown Brampton exactly as well. You're kind of close to everything. So it was very easy for my clients to find me. Whereas when I was in Mississauga, I was in an industrial area, even though I was still in a storefront. It was kind of in the middle, or hard to get there, for all of my clients who usually were in Brampton. But I thought it would have been easier for them to find me, because it was only 15 minutes away, from my house location. but it's only 15 minutes away from my house location by driving. Let's say clients take the bus. They're not going to want to go 20 to 30 minutes from Brampton to Mississauga just to get to me. So it was inaccessible for some of my clients. So finding new clients was hard because it wasn't in an industrial area, it wasn't really busy. And also transportation, how are they going to get to you? So it's makes more sense for you to be in a centralized area, like if you're downtown, um, mall rent can be expensive too, but I would say being in a centralized area is where you're gonna make the best money.
Of course, that totally makes sense. Making money, that's our goal. But in order to make money, you need to know what you're doing, right? And I understand you do like
Exactly.
to browse, you do a lot of things. Like, would you say that you learned this on your own? Was it like a God-given talent, or would you say like school helped you develop these skills?
Um, Honestly, I feel like I'm a sponge. So when I was at home or younger, I kind of grew up around that environment already because my mom is a medical esthetician and she went to school for over 20 to 30 years doing different things. So I was able to watch her have her own salon, even though I really wasn't understanding back then because I was like 10, but I got to see what it's like for someone to run a salon. It didn't work out for different reasons for her. So I kind of always had that in the back of my mind of, okay, here's what I should be doing if I were to go forward and do that moving forward, or what I can do to be different so that I have a different story from what happened to her. So I still would say school is important, but when I took all of the knowledge that I could from all of the courses and certifications that I took, it took me implementing them for a while before I actually charged properly for it. And I think that's what was able to market me properly. Usually, a lot of people will go and learn and skill and then immediately start charging right away to make money from it. For lash extensions, I was charging $40 for a year and a half before I actually charged regular price. For eyebrows, I was doing it for free for my regular clients for 7 months before I started charging. For waxing, I had a discounted price for again a whole year so I could build my clientele for it, and then I raised my prices. So that was the strategy I always go for anytime I add something new. I already have clients who trust me, so when I bring in a new service, I offer it to a discount for them so that it'll keep them coming in and then also tell other people about it as well.
What's regular price? Will you say you were undervaluing your service, or was that like a marketing strategy?
Not really. It was a marketing strategy for me because one, I was charging so I could be able to gain the knowledge, the skill, and also get faster because lashes is a tedious service and it
Hmm.
takes long. So for the first little bit, I was doing it on family and friends so I can get the experience. So $50 at the time was reasonable. Now, if you're supposed to do $50, it's not feasible. You wouldn't be making enough money even for the supplies. Um, so it depends honestly on what you're doing, the type of strategy to go about doing so. But when we learn lashes, I always recommend the first couple people is family and friends. You can get the groove of it, even if it has to be for free, which is why I suggest family and friends. And then after that, you set a market value where you know, okay, at least the price that I'm charging them pays for the supplies at least, because you have to take some losses in order to get somewhere. You can't just automatically start charging um, 110 or $120 for work that wouldn't actually meet that price. So you have to do a little bit of sacrificing there in order to get where you need to get.
How do you know what to charge your customers? Or like, do you charge them based off of your education? Do you charge them based off of the time it took you to learn the trade? Do you charge them based on like the economy? How do you know what to charge people?
So it goes through a lot of strategies. Like let's say for me right now, I know that I have to raise my prices because they've been the same for a while. I've also learned a lot of things prior to when I used to charge this price. This is the same price that I used to charge when I was home based. So I know it has to be increased because, again, expenses are now more. I have suite rent now, didn't have it back then, more experience. And also, you have to look at what people are charging around you as well.
Hmm.
Let's say there's 3 or 4 home-based studios nearby that charges around the same price. that you're charging, most likely people are gonna look and be like, okay, well, there's a salon-based person versus a home-based person. Why is the salon-based person charging as much as the home-based person? They have to start looking at your skills now. Okay, is her skills not up to par? Why is she charging this price? Whereas when you raise your prices to a certain tier, you have to start proving yourself in your content to make people understand why you're charging that price. And maybe they won't even understand, but they'll thinking they're paying a premium price for quality service.
Mhm. Of course, that definitely does make
Yeah.
sense. And you started your business like a couple of years ago, and understand you had
Mhm.
to go back to work, and now you went back to your business, etc. What would you tell somebody younger than yourself,
Mhm.
who is looking to start their own business, whether that be in the beauty industry or any other industry?
I would say that if they're going to do it, they should go all in. There should be no regrets or any stopping um, from doing something that you feel that you need to do. You'll know when it's time in order to drop. If they're doing a 9 to 5 and then doing their business, you'll know when the time is based off of, okay, let's say you don't feel like you want to go to your 9 to 5 anymore, and then you're putting your income from your 9 to 5 into your business. There's going to be a time frame where they're no longer, you don't balance yourself out anymore. You're
Mhm.
gonna be putting in too much into one versus the other. And if you wanna branch out, then you have to just literally go full force. Doesn't mean to drop the business, and go full force if you don't see your income coming in, but you'll know when. Like, I didn't know when I would know when. I was questioning myself for a while, wondering if it was time for me to drop it, and then there came the time of frame where, okay, now I'm getting people inquiring to book during times I don't have available, and work was stopping me from going full force. So I had to stop in order to reap the benefits because you can't stretch yourself too thin.
Of course, and like in order to like not stretch yourself too thin, I understand like the government of Ontario, of Canada, is giving like grants for business owners, specifically like marginalized ones like the blacks, etc. Would you say that's helping or
Mhm.
hindering businesses?
I feel like they do help, but in a lot of ways, also, um, when it comes to taxes as well, it's as if they kind of are for us, but then again, they aren't. Because let's say you're running a business that eventually gets to the 6-figure tax frame, the government takes half of that, and then it makes you feel like you're not even making the income that you're set out to make. So 100K a year could end up being $50,000 real quick because 50K will go to the government. So it's hard, and it's much harder now than it was before, because I feel like they're realizing it's very easy for people to make money themselves now. Like diversifying income through your phone is the easiest thing to do now. Selling your knowledge in ebooks or courses or videos in order to diversify your income, so you no longer have to be behind the chair, or being a service based industry. So again, yes, they are for us, and those grants are there to help. Um, but there's different things that also leads up to that as well, where you can find it hard, but there's also different resources out there as well. I'm looking into them as well for myself because again, even though I've been in it for 5 years, it still feels kind of new to me, but because I'm always learning.
Of course, definitely. I do understand that you always need to learn, always try to be, the best. That was actually a lot of knowledge that I do respect and appreciate. And thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Triple T. It's greatly appreciated.
Anytime.
Before you go, would you like to shout out your Instagram page or the social media handles where other entrepreneurs can find you or potential clients?
Of course. So my Instagram is royalty minks with two eyes. So MIINKS beauty studio. And then my TikTok is Royalty Minx Studio. Again, with two eyes. So MIINKS and then studio.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for being here with us, Olivia. It's greatly appreciated. Everyone's there.